if we didn't have enough reasons to look after the planet, you presented us with some more. If you care about biodiversity, or if you think it's an investable theme, do you basically have to avoid palm oil, soy, cattle and timber, or are there ways to invest in those, just make sure they're sustainable?
Good morning. Thank you for having me on. You've raised a very good point. These commodities we highlight in the report as being important to focus on from a biodiversity perspective, but we by no means expect investors to move away to alternative commodities. Take, for instance, palm oil. If you were to move to an alternative oilseed, you would need 10 times the amount of land. So with increasing conservation concerns, it just simply wouldn't be feasible to expect such a shift. What we're seeing in our research is that the growing trends in the use of things such as certification, ensuring that supply chains are free from things such as illegal deforestation, is an important ways that investors should be looking at the biodiversity theme.
What else can investors do here? I mean, there's so many things you don't even think about, but what else can investors do to take advantage of a shift for consumer behavior?
Absolutely, good question. In our view, there are three ways that the theme of biodiversity can really be meaningful to the investment community. The first is simply addressing biodiversity as an additional risk factor, particularly for sectors that are aligned to the commodities that you've already mentioned, so things such as palm, soy, cattle, timber, and so forth. The other way has been really using biodiversity as a new additional ESG screening metric. We're increasingly seeing the companies that are sort of most sophisticated in terms of understanding these risks, disclosing, for instance, the amount of commodities that are sustainable and so forth. We're seeing even the likes of, say, Unilever investing its €1 billion Nature and Climate Fund, in which they're doing many things to, say, replant forests and so forth. And then lastly, we're seeing the investment community using the biodiversity theme to play into the broader natural capital theme and trend. And by this, we mean there are a number of technological advances that are helping us address some of these biodiversity issues and concerns. That can be, for instance, using satellite and drone technology to monitor a plantation and check and detect any sort of illegal or suspicious activity. And it's been very encouraging to see, say, some of the consumer brands investing and using these technologies to essentially make sure that they have comfort that their supply chains are free from some of these risks that I've alluded to.
How do you tackle, Katherine, when you get to the nuts and bolts of this, I suppose? How do you tackle the perception on the ground amongst the farmers who farm in this way that there are economic benefits that are gained from current practices? How do you get around that?
There are a number of ways of doing this. I think we're seeing more partnerships in terms of some of the food giants and even the food retailers really working with their farmers to help them understand that simple things such as correctly using chemicals and fertilizers isn't just positive from a biodiversity perspective. It reduces costs. We're seeing the use of precision farming, again, being a key driver and another investment opportunity arising out of this growing focus. But you're right, it's a very collaborative approach, but we are seeing increased partnerships between farmers and the corporates with whom they work.
Katherine, thanks so much for joining us. Fantastic. Oh, sorry, Anna, do you want to get in here?
I was just going to ask about specific companies, Katherine, either the companies themselves or the sectors that you think are taking this very seriously. And as you screen for businesses that are acting to protect biodiversity, what do you find?
Yes, happy to take you through that. So in terms of sectors, I think that's probably the best place to start. So within the paper and packaging area, there are a number of companies doing a number of different things to really think about looking after their forestries. But you can look out for things such as within, say, the paper and packaging company, the increased use of, say, recycled paper in the paper or cardboard that they are producing. The consumer goods area and even the HPC names, again, is an important sector to cover. And same with, say, the food retailers with links to, many of the commodities that we highlight in the report. But we speak to many of the companies that we cover really to work out exactly what they're doing. Because the topic is still relatively nascent, one of the things that's really important for the investment community to do is speak to the companies where they can, but also look at the increasing reporting in terms of initiatives from a biodiversity perspective.